Now I've just not long gone and put some new wheels on the front of my 2017 86 GTS. I went from 8s, I had a staggered fitment, 8s on the front, 9s on the back. I decided to go 9s on the front, so I've gone and put some 9s on the front now. The problem I'm running into is that the wheels are now sticking out past the guards, and here in Australia that's quite illegal. I'll give you a quick look. Alright, it's not much, but it's enough for me to get pinged, and I don't exactly want to have to take my car through the shop to get engineered, etc, etc. It's a waste of time, waste of money. So I've been looking for ways to get around this issue on the cheap, on the quick and on the easy, and something that I can do myself as well, just so I can get to know the car a bit better. So what I'll do is I'm just going to jack the car up, I'm going to take the wheel off and look at the camber bolts. Okay, so we're under the car now, and these are the two pinch bolts. Top one is 16mm, the bottom one is 14mm. I've seen a few people being completely confused about what size they are. That's a 16, that's a 14. I got my replacement bolts through Whiteline. So you got your 16 and you got your 14. Alright, so the difference is that this has got a lobe that varies from nothing down here to a few millimeters up here, so you can actually turn that and it'll swivel the plate in and out. What I'm going to do, I don't have any camber measuring equipment. Mine is very basic, just using a tape measure, because that's all I've got. So what I'm doing to find out, to get the most camber out of it as possible, and making sure that both the left side and the right side are exactly the same, what I'm doing is I'm just taking a measurement from up against the wall over there and measuring to the back of the brake disc. Alright, not measuring to the plate behind the brake disc, because that can move in and out. If you're moving the disc around for a little bit of leverage, you can actually bend that. A measurement from that to the back of the brake disc is 251mm. So we'll be able to see just how much it actually moves and find out where that point is that it won't go any further. So we'll get it both the same on both sides. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do, and I've already loosened, taken the nuts off these bolts just to make it easier for myself, is just pop those out. So I will start with the bottom bolt, the 14mm. Alright, so I'll pull that out. Now in the bottom, we want the lobe to go the opposite direction of the top one, so it actually angles one outwards and the other one inwards. Alright, so this one we want it to pull outwards, and this one we want it to pull inwards, so that'll give us the maximum lean. So with the bolt, you see it's got a little tab just there, and it's got this other tab just here. So what we need to do is, because we want that lobe to spin like that and push this outwards, so you need to put that lobe on the back side with that little tab on the inside, and have this tab point out the front. So I'll just go and straighten this up and push that bolt in, just like that. Okay. That goes in there like that, and that lobe just sits forward, so it's actually going to give us the negative camber on the bottom. Alright, so that one's in, and then we just go ahead and put the nut on it. Is that the one there? Yeah, that's the nut. So we just need to tighten that nut up. You can't do it by fingers, because it's a slight oval shape, so it doesn't actually go on loose. It actually stays nice and tight, because you don't want that loosening up while you're driving, especially track. Something comes off and you're going to be in a bloody world of hurt. So I'm just going to come back once I've got this tightened up, but I don't want it too tight, okay? Just want it sort of, just to nip it up, because you've got to adjust this bolt. I should also mention that when you're tightening this other nut up on the backside, you don't want the bolt to actually move itself. You just want the nut to move, because the bolt will adjust the camber. So you want to keep that in one spot for the time being until you actually get the nut on. It is made easier if you don't have the top bolt in, because the top bolt is actually longer. The white line bolt is actually longer than the stock bolt. So if you leave the top one out, it will actually give you a little bit more room to move, because otherwise you're stuck to only that much movement. Whereas with the stock bolt in, you've actually got from here across to here. Alright, got that nipped up just a little bit now. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll adjust this bolt. So basically, I want it to turn. So whatever it is stamped on this side will be on this side. So it's pointing the complete opposite direction. And what I will do while I'm doing this, if you watch, you'll actually see the hub move. There we go, it's the hub moving. Alright, so it's nearly the whole way around. You want to get it somewhere close, and then I'll just grab the tape measure again. I'll just sit it up against the wall in the same spot, and then the back of the disc, and you'll see that it's actually gone down to 244 millimeters. Right, it's from 251, so it's actually moved 7 mil, which is a fair bit, because every little millimeter down here makes a bigger difference up the top under the guard. All right, and I'll just grab the spanner again, and while I'm keeping an eye on the measurement, alright, so that's moving back out, so I want it to move back in. So 244 mil is going to be the max that it goes. Alright, so then we'll just hold that there, and then we'll just tighten this bolt up. Now you really do want to use a torque wrench for this, because you need to torque it down to 150 foot-pound. So then we'll go ahead and do the top bolt, and probably, oh no, that's okay, that came out. Alright, so the top one's 16 mil. Now this time round, because we want it to push the bracket that way, we want to put the lobe in, this lobe towards the front, with that little tag right behind it, and this tag hanging out the back, okay? So I push it in just like that. Alright, it went in nice and easy, I didn't expect that. Alright, and then go and put the nut on that one. Alright, so that's just firm right there at the moment. So then we had 241 from the back of the wheel well against the body to the back of the disc. Alright, so this time what we want to do is we're trying to get the lobe to turn from this side and go over this side, so it'll push the mount inwards and tilt that in more. So same thing, we just turn this side here. Now that's starting to tighten a little bit, so I'll just go and back that off just a little bit, and then keep turning. See, you can see it moving again. So you've got to find that sweet spot where it won't turn anymore. Now that's just loosened up a bit, so I'll go and just nip it up a little bit more. Alright, and then I'll get the measuring tape back out again. Same spots. So then while I adjust this, I can keep an eye on how far in it's going to go. Alright, so that's 239. We've moved it in 11 mil. Alright, so just hold this one nice and still. and then just tighten this one up. Again, torque it up, 150 foot-pound. So that's on, that's tightened. We've got some camber. Apparently, if you run in both those bolts, I think it gets you about 2 degrees, as far as I've read online. Whiteline doesn't have those stats on their website. They say you can run 0.75 degrees with the top bolt, but they don't say how much you can run with the bottom bolt. Some guys have been saying they're getting about 2 degrees using 2 bolts. And most brands look exactly identical. They don't have bigger or smaller lobes because they physically can't have bigger or smaller lobes because it's still got to fit inside those holes. If they make the lobe bigger, it's just not going to fit in. It just won't go in the hole. So we've got that done. So what I'll do is I'll drop it back down on the wheel again, and then we'll have a look at how much we actually tuck that wheel into the guard. So I've got the wheel back on, torqued up. I've dropped it down off the jack, and it's made a difference, made a nice difference, and it makes the car look so much more aggressive. And that wheel is now actually tucked under the guard. You can see there, it's actually tucked under the guard now. So no longer is it actually illegal. And the other benefit being that I'm going to get more grip in the corners. So happy days. I'm much looking forward to that, since I've also just put new rubbers on it because I've had to go for the next size up rubber to fit the 9s, and I've chucked on Bridgestone Potenzas RE003s, and from the get-go, even just running straight camber or 0 degree camber, or from the factory, well, it's not 0 degree, but without doing any camber adjustments from the factory, there was a big difference. But now that I've actually got that and running what could be up to 2 degrees of camber, it's going to make a massive difference. So I'm very keen to hit the track and actually see what difference this makes, and especially with the wider and stickier rubber on it. So I'm going to go ahead now. I'm going to do the other side, and then maybe I'll catch you in a later video when I take it for a drive. So guys, if you enjoyed this, would much appreciate it if you hit that like button down below, give us a thumbs up, all right, and subscribe, and I will try and bring a video whenever I can of any updates that I do. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I'll be happy to look forward to answer those for you. Cheers.